always great to finish with a couple champs. I mean, the tournament's always a mixed bag. I mean, it's obviously you want to get 10 cylinders all clicking together. Didn't happen. We'll continue to try to figure that out every year, but I think having two champs is certainly something we can build on into the national tournament. We got 4 guys going. The reason that they have it set up like they do is so if guys like Carter don't qualify, they get in the national tournament. I mean, he's going to get in the national tournament. I think running maybe has an outside chance. I think the thing is you want to always keep it in your hands. And I think that's, we talk to our guys. The biggest thing for me is, man, we just want to finish the race. Let us finish the race this year. Last year we didn't get that opportunity to finish the race. And we want to be able to finish this thing, and we're prepared to do it. Heck, it'll be a quick turnaround. I think, everyone's going to be getting down to St. Louis a little bit earlier. So really we got a week. We got a mini training phase, and then you're ready to roll. But having guys, how those champs compete, I thought they competed very well. I thought Tristan Lara had a really solid tournament. Yant being hurt all year, coming and placing. I thought had a really good tournament. But for us to be able to win a tournament like that, you got to have 10 guys placing. I mean, it's just the bottom line. You got to have guys going deeper in tournaments. A guy like Running gets hurt, his shoulders have been dinged up all year, and unfortunately, he made it all the way to the end of the season, and then, you can't make it through. But talk about a tough individual, man, and I don't think people realize what these guys go through. I don't think guys understand, and you guys do because you're around it, you see it, you go down to the national tournament, you're in the hallways, you watch these tournaments, and you see what these guys are dealing with. You see that they can barely walk, or, man, they can't move their arm, and they're still going out there competing, man. I mean, the grit and heart that these guys show, the wrestlers show, but, I can see up and down our lineup some of the things that these guys went through. And what they've dealt with this season and how they've handled it, man, I couldn't be more proud of our team, But how many guys we go to the national tournament, we plan on scoring a heck of a lot of points. So, I guess any questions?
Coach, when will you head for St. Louis? Monday, Tuesday?
Got to get that figured out. We might be going down Monday. You got to test. You have to have 2 negative tests down there before you can get into the arena. So, you don't want to get me on this stuff. I mean, because I'm only going to get in trouble with some of the things that I want to say. So I'll just keep my mouth shut, and we'll get through these next 2 weeks and get finish the race and get through our national tournament. Obviously our basketball team was just down there. Didn't have a great experience down there, so I think we certainly learned a few lessons from that. Just as far as maybe how we have to travel down, some of the things that we need to do to be aware of heading down there. So yeah, I mean we usually go on Tuesday, but I'm gonna say we'll probably get down there Monday, so we can test on Monday, Tuesday, and then we can be able to get into the arena.
Brody's performance all season has been pretty impressive to watch, and it seems like he's getting more comfortable with every match. And he showed again there in the finals that even if he does give up points early, or even during the duration of the match, that the guy just continues to compete. What has been the most fun or revealing part about watching him go this season?
He thinks he's always going to win. It doesn't matter what the score is. I mean, he does. Heck, it's the first match of the year, he's down 8-1. And at the end of the first period, it's 10-9. So I think that's indicative of, hey, whatever I need to do, I believe I can get it done. And he didn't panic. That was a great thing last night. That guy that was a great headlock. I mean, that was a great hold. And then for him to only give up even 2 back in there was pretty impressive. And then he almost rolled through. And then, he clears out of that position. He gets his 1, and then, scores right away and has a cradle locked up for a long time, finishes the ride out, and it's 4-3 at the end of the first. That's a whole different complexion of the match. But he just doesn't panic. I think really what you saw is his offense start to open up on his feet. His hands and feet moved a lot more. Saw some diversity in attacks. And, he's riding hard. We got to be able to mat return. I think that's, the biggest thing from top. But, man, how can you enjoy how that guy's competing, man? If you're a fan of wrestling, and that match last night, I think anyone that would have tuned in and would have watched, and especially if you're watching wrestling for the first time, like that's I want to watch the next match, because that was an exciting match. But he always thinks he can win, no matter what happens within a match, and that's there's a confidence that he has in himself, and that comes even from when he was real young. And we need to have more of that, throughout our team. We need that spread throughout everyone. Like, man, no matter what happens, I don't care. I'm going to continue to wrestle. I can make things happen. I can score points, or I can pin a guy. It takes me a second to do that. But man, to see him grow throughout the season and see how he continues to improve and get better, and he's put himself national title, man. Put himself in the spot to win a national title. He's wrestling that well, and he's competing that well, and he's done it all year. He's got better throughout the season, man. I'm excited for him and what's in front of him in St. Louis. I think I saw some stat. The first Dodger to win a conference title maybe since the '70s. And the first two Dodgers with him and Tristan going to the national tournament maybe since Ryle. That's a proud town, man. That's had a lot of guys come through there. So I think they're not only happy to be doing it for UNI, but man, I know that they're always proud to be doing it for Dodge too. And so I don't know how long it's been since they've had a national champ or an All-American, but it's going to change that too in the next couple weeks.
Speaking of just enjoying watching guys wrestle, Parker at 84, I see the smile on your face. A lot of us who have kind of watched him, when he committed, we started following him up in Wisconsin, and we got to see some of his freestyle stuff too. And then you see him in the room every day. So what he's able to do, probably not a huge surprise, but what makes him so different from other freshmen that you've had in the program? Because he just seems like he's different.
I know Lee talks to him all the time about controlling the controllables, and he actually does it. You've watched a few of these matches, and heck, he has a takedowns. He had a takedown against Gear, big match, had a takedown wiped off the table. Against Cobra, he had a takedown wiped off the table, and doesn't phase him. He continues to take attacks and pressure, and the training that he does and he continues to do every day. That's what he's done every day, and how he's lived. It manifests itself out in how he competes. And there's no other way. If you're going to train and live that way, that's how you need to compete. And he's bought into it wholeheartedly. He's going after trying to be great, and you see it in how he competes. And I don't think that was even the best Parker that we've even seen this year. It's certainly not the best Parker that we're going to see in his career, and we're going to see a better Parker, I believe, at the national tournament in St. Louis. But man, pace, pressure, and you see guys are starting to make adjustments. I think both guys, first couple matches, guys are trying to 2-on-1 and slow him down, and trying to keep him off the hand fight. But as long as he's moving his feet and hands, he's got incredible attacks. He's got a variety of attacks, but just his pace, man, and that he's willing to continue to go underneath the guy, because it'd be easy to back off in certain situations, and he doesn't do it. And that's why he's going to continue to separate himself from the pack. But freshman, I think someone asked me, like, well, how was he going to handle being the number one seed? I'm like, that's what he planned on being. It is what he's trained to do. It's what he's talked about doing. It's what he planned on doing. So it was no surprise. And then he goes out and wins a tournament, and he plans on doing that same thing at the national tournament. And who's to say? I believe he can, and I'm excited to see it. But just having a freshman that competes that way, it's great for our future, and it's great for other guys. You kind of put those two guys together, and just him and Brody and how they compete. It's something that you can build off of, and other guys can start to draw confidence off it, and look at how those guys are competing. It might not look exactly the same, but as far as the hustle and fight and belief in themselves and the program, they can have it. And I know some guys definitely have a deeper depth to themselves after this weekend. Some guys are hurting because their season's over, but like I told them, man, we have some options on how to move forward. And we have some options when we come back to the Big 12 tournament. And I'm not getting ahead of myself because we got the national tournament, but for some guys, they don't have the national tournament. For some guys, their next season's already started. And what are they going to do to make sure that they're not sitting up the stands watching? They're not on those. So they had chairs, and they had chairs for the team, and they got to watch the Big 12 finals right next to the mat. What are you going to do so you're the guy out on that stage? And guys are capable of it, man. And I know they believe it. And I know they're listening. And I know that these guys that are going to the national tournament next week can build a lot of momentum for us in our future. And 5 or 6 guys going to national tournament, you can score a heck of a lot of points, man. That's what we plan on doing. So, we talk about those 2 guys, but it's a great way to leave Tulsa and head home, and then, like I said, getting ready for St. Louis, man. Having 2 champs, and certainly something to build off of. But if I can't say that I'm not disappointed and didn't want more, then I wouldn't be doing my job very well.
100%. You guys have won the last 4 184-pound titles at Big 12s, with Foster winning twice, then Lujan, now Parker. Does Parker get to roll with those 2 guys in the room? I know Drew is still doing the freestyle thing. Lujan, that was in his plan. How much fun are those scraps if they do?
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys are in the room, and that's well, here's the thing is, in tradition matters. And it's not like it's handed to you, but man, you start seeing someone in front of you win, it makes it more believable. I can tell you where I came into, it's like you didn't think it was going to be handed to you, but you believed already. I can go do this. How many? It's not when I'm going to win a national title, it's how many I'm going to win. And that's kind of what, I think he's like, I'm picking up the torch. Foster won in front of me, Lujan won in front of me, I'm going to start to win. You just got to start doing that up and down the lineup. So, so Teskey won 1, and I'm sure he plans on winning 2 and 3 and 4. But who's ever behind him coming in is like, okay, I'm going to pick up the torch from him. Now we just got to have someone that's going to be the guy that's going to put our team or put that weight in that situation. We just need to do that up and down the lineup. But yeah, those guys are in the room, and they make a huge difference for us, that you have guys of that level and caliber in your room, training daily, giving back to our team. They're striving after being beyond. They're striving after being world and Olympic champions. And Parker wants to do that. So having those guys in the room with him and hands-on, and maybe beating him up every so often, it only helps him and gets him better and more prepared for when he steps on the mat in situations like that. But man, that dude he's battle tested and ready. Man, we have an incredible room up in those weights. It's one of the best in the country.
I'm good, Coach.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Cody.
Yeah, me too. I'm good.
I'll reach out later this week, try to get a hold of some of those guys before you guys leave.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, fellas. And, like I said, I'm incredibly proud of our team, man, and how they've managed this year and how they've handled this year. It hasn't been easy on anybody. and they've handled it well. They were going to come out of this stronger. And even the guys that got beaten, their tournament's done. And, you talk about Scuds and Basil and running, we got to get him healthy. Cade, I'm going to talk about Cade for a second because, last year, you're like, is this guy going to be able to wrestle anymore? And he's in the Big 12 tournament, and you could saw some things kind of start to happen. Some wheels start to spin and start to realize he's pretty dang good. Now what are we going to do this 365 before our next tournament? Is going to be the big thing with him, getting Runyon back healthy. Obviously he got hurt and didn't really get to see the real Runyon, which hurts, but I know how to handle things. And, you got Keegan Moore, who, man, been through a whole lot. He's been battle tested. And you know what? This is one more hurdle. This is one more thing he's going to have to overcome. This is one more like, hey, are you willing to dig deep again and come back? Come back. You have one more opportunity. How are you going to use it? And, man, I believe in him. Man, I believe if he truly commits this next year, 197 is a heck of a weight in the Big 12 conference, but he would be a guy that everyone's going to be like, shit, man, I better be ready for this guy. I better be. This is a different guy, and that's what we're going to continue to work and build him, and get him some real confidence, man, in himself. But the guys are going to St. Louis, man. They're gonna get the momentum rolling for our next season, and they're gonna get our momentum rolling for our future. And I said, look forward to just finishing the race and getting to St. Louis and, man, complete the international tournament and having a whole bunch of hardware to bring home to Cedar Falls. So I know I keep talking, but I start thinking about guys, man, because you think about season, you think about, what could have been, and there's some things that certainly I learned throughout this season, and I'll be a better coach for it. And yeah, it's all part of the process. But I'll stop talking. I got some work I need to do anyway.